Hello guys from Nairobi. Karibuni sana. Made it to Nairobi. I'm so excited. I'm very happy. This is my second time here and I've been receiving very many culture shocks. So as you have seen from the thumbnail to the title of the vlog, today I'm going to be talking about some culture shocks I've experienced in Nairobi, Kenya, visiting for the second time. Mind you, this time around, I did use a bus that was from Kampala straight to Nairobi in Kenya, passed via, the border in Busia, Kisumu, the Rift Valley, Kericho, Naivasha, Nakuru, all the way to Nairobi, Westlands. So before I dive into the vlog to just give you guys all the culture shocks I've gotten, firsthand, as they are still very hot, please make it a point that you subscribe, like, comment, and share out with friends and family. It will really make a difference moving forward. Yes. By the way, in the couple of last videos, a lot of you guys had a couple of questions for me to answer. I'll answer those before I dive into the culture shocks. Number one, how old are you? Number two, what do you do for work? Number three was more of, why Nairobi and all that. But all those questions, I'm going to be answering them in the description box below. Also attach my business WhatsApp number and my email address in the description box below. So please just pass there, look through them, and you'll definitely get those answers. Yes. So you guys, this brings me to the first culture shock I've received hand on hand. First time, not actually first time, second time in Nairobi, Kenya. This is army shops. Army selling shops. Shops selling army attires. So guys, if you don't know, back in Kampala, Uganda, I'm from Uganda, regardless of the fact that right now I'm in Nairobi. I think a couple of weeks ago, there was a law that was passed that no citizen, especially if you are not from the army kind of section, is allowed to wear anything that looks like an army attire. And in case you are actually found doing so, I think you have a minimum prison sentence of more than 10 years. So it is absolutely very important for you to be very careful, especially in Uganda, so that you are not trapped by any person who sees any attire you are wearing looking like or resembling an army attire. So mind you, yesterday when I did arrive, I passed via, I arrived through River Road, I think. And to my surprise, there was a shop selling army things, like army toppies, army checked trousers and shirts and vests and capes. Okay, the ones that resemble, armies. And I was really surprised coming from a country where all those things were banned. And I really understand it in one way or another, especially for Uganda, because I know that many people use it as an opportunity to either scam people, especially on the road, or involve in robbery because they have army attires and all that. But for me, it was really a very huge shock. So you guys, this brings me to the second point I really want to talk about. This is about, yesterday when I came in, the first time when I was in Nairobi, that was in May, I used a lot of, like private kind of transportation, if we would want to call it so. So most of the time I was in Ubers. I never got a chance to actually get onto a bus or get onto a matatu or anything of a sort. So this time around, I was actually moving from Nairobi, that is, the city center. I can't very well remember the street, but maybe around maybe Mombasa Road or something of a sort. And we took these buses that were, going to different places. Mind you, also, the other shock is that each bus has a designed number, so that in case you are boarding tax, for example, 23, 22, or 33, it specifically goes to a particular place. Yes, so it's not how we do back in Uganda, that you go into a tax park and you look out for a place you are going to. For example, I'm going to maybe Parklands, and the bus or taxi has Parklands on it, and it is the stage for taxis that go to Parklands. No, it is not like that. They have buses and their buses have numbers. So each bus has a designed number that when you go to that particular stop, you see the number, board the bus, and it was also slightly, quite affordable, because the first time we are spending more than 1100, 1200 on Ubers, but for a ride which was long, for example, from Otawala to maybe, River Road, it only costed maybe around 100 bob. So according to that, comparing to the first time, that was pretty affordable. Now, the other second shock, which is inside this particular second shock, it is that now when we are almost at the destination or the estate where I was going, guys, people started standing when the car is moving. People started standing, and it was a shock, regardless of the fact that it's a canon of peace, because believe it or not, Kenyans, they just give you that particular good hospitality, benevolency kind of experience, if I have to say so. But regardless of that, they're also like on a quick hurry. I think that's the best thing to describe, what I experienced. They are like this. Go, 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 go. So the bus was still moving, regardless of the fact that I think people had, started reaching into the area where the bus was designated to go. People started standing before even the bus stopped. So you would see people standing, and the bus is still moving, and they are moving towards the exit door. And mind you, I had a guy who was sitting just near me, and the guy was like, let me get off, let me stand up. But for me, I'm realizing that the car is still moving. Just imagine that shock. But after some time, I just gave up, stood as the car moved, gave him way, then I sat down, and I thought about it so much. Mind you, also behind me, or behind us, because we are a group, there was this woman carrying a young baby, maybe 6 months or 7 months, and as she stood up, as the car still moved, or the bus still moved, the baby crashed the head on the back of the car seat. She started crying immediately. So I think for me, it's a shocker. And I just realized that for these people living here, it is absolutely very, very normal. I don't know, but I just feel like over they would have been a little bit more patient, so that they don't do that. Because at the end of the day, so anything can happen. Just imagine the driver getting on the brakes before. That would be a disaster. So, you guys, the third thing I want to talk about, it was all about immigration. I started my trip in Kampala, Uganda from Nairobi bus park, and it started quite late. Initially, we were supposed to set off at 7, but we ended up setting off at 8. And by the time we arrived at the border is it Maraba border? Busia, not Maraba, but Busia border. It was 12 minutes past 12 in the night. And let me kid you not, guys, the shocker of my life, that border had a lot of shocks for me, but I'll just go step by step through them. Guys, there are very, very many people traveling between Kenya and Uganda. I can't tell you the amount of Kenyans I saw who were entering into Uganda, and the amount of Ugandans I saw who were entering into Kenya. And mind you, within that night, there were only, I believe, like 4 different immigration points working. The lines were crazy. I'm talking about 200 and above. Even I'm not extra pouring in soup. People were very, very many. I was shocked that a lot of Ugandans and Kenyans move between the countries like that, because a couple of months ago, when the president of Kenya came about and, advised and talked about how, this deal or partnership between the East African countries can give opportunities to our people. And it's not until when you reach the border in Busia, you will know how much people move. It's not only from Uganda, but also from Kenya. Kenyans are entering Uganda, Ugandans are entering Kenya. And for me, it was really a very, 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 very huge shock. Then also, you can travel with either your national ID or your passport. Initially, I thought that you would only travel with your passport. Shock of my life, Ugandans having their national identification cards, Kenyans the same thing, and they would freely, easily, get access to both countries. So it was a really, 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 really big shock for me that many people like that really do travel. Then maybe the other thing I would add on to that, it would be the toilets at the border they are for paying for. That also shocked me. You either have to have 20 bob, was it 40 bob, 20 bob? I think 20 bob or 1,000 Ugandan shillings to access those toilets, though they were not that clean. So paying for a toilet was a shocker to me. And actually, you pay for that toilet, which is on the side of Kenya. So I don't know why it is like that. Maybe if someone has some information about that. But yeah, it really, really, really did shock me a lot. So, you guys, this brings me to the next point. This is all about, I think Kenya as a nation, they are early bird risers. And in Nairobi, in Kampala, Uganda, people are known early bird risers. And by that, I mean the elites, people have made their money here in Kenya. Not even only that, but I think the general population. People wake up very early, like very early. And I'm talking about early, like 4 a.m. in the morning. It's absolutely the opposite in Uganda. Now, I came in through, as I told you guys, via the Busia border. And by 3 a.m. in the morning, I think we were in Kisumu. By the time we reached Kisumu, it was already raining, cats and dogs, very, very absolutely cold. And there were some Kenyans who were boarding off. I think we are coming back home, boarding off. But let me kid you not, guys. Within that time, people were already on the road. It was raining, regardless of the fact that I've heard a saying that Kenyans fear rain than cars, something of a sort, that they would rather be hit by rain, that they would rather be hit by a car than rain, if that makes sense. But by that time, people were already on the road, moving, business people, left, right, and center. By the time it hit 5, that is when we had perused through the Rift Valley via Kerisho to maybe Nakuru, Naivasha. That is around 5. Very many people are already up. Business have already started opening. People are just on the move. And I really, really love that energy in one way or another because it really gives you a picture of how hardworking Kenyans are. And especially to survive in Nairobi generally, because it's also no joke. It's the cost of living is, regardless of the fact that when you come from Uganda and you look at our cost of living and you come here, the money is quite different, and you might feel like you have enough money with where you come from. But people who are living here already, I kid you not, it is quite hard. So I just looked at it in a very opposite kind of perspective that, they're early risers and they can be able to do more with their time. Back in Uganda, it's completely the opposite. At 3 a.m. in the morning, you cannot see that many people moving around on the road. No, people in Uganda, I think they just wake up around 6, like the majority. The majority around 6, then maybe by 7:30, the clocking time of work, especially standard work time in Uganda, it's around 8. So most of the people wake up at 6:30, 7, rush through, go to work probably by 8, and some work starts at 9 in Uganda. So for me, that was also a very, 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 very huge culture shock that people here, they are early risers. And in case you haven't pulled up your socks, something will happen to you, especially as a person visiting or a person who is trying to adapt to the systems here. This brings me to another point, culture shock, I really want to talk about. This is all about scratch airtime. Scratch airtime, guys, is still being used in Nairobi, Kenya. Can you imagine? Scratch airtime was abolished in Uganda in 2014. Yeah, 2014. I remember very well. We used to have scratch airtime. It was abolished, I think it was in May. Then they added in a little bit of time. By December, I remember very well that everything had become mobile money related. Whenever you wanted airtime, you would buy it on your mobile money direct, or the payway, or from your bank directly. And also from the bank, it is just of recent that there is a way how you can buy airtime straight from your bank account. Yeah, but guys, to the shock of my life, yesterday when I reached River Road, that is where the Babeto coaches are. Remember, I had an Airtel line Kenya, and I just wanted to load on airtime so that I can call my relatives, friends, in Nairobi here, to just let them know that I've reached, and also call home, let my mom know and my siblings know, my big sis knows that I've reached safely and I'm in Nairobi. So I was trying to look out for a kiosk where I can go load for me airtime through the Airtel money, and to the shock of my life, the girl told me, or the lady at the kiosk, we only have scratch airtime. Guys, just look at me in that particular shock. like has like scratch airtime, like scratch airtime, like these ones with a lot of numbers. You scratch and put through the code, like how we load electricity back in Uganda. By the way, that's also another thing I'll have to look into. I don't know how here electricity works, but back in Uganda it's of the same thing. But again, it is not scratch. You request the code on your phone using your mobile money, and they send you the code which you feed into the Yaka bill. Now it is almost the same thing, but for airtime here, you buy the scratch airtime, get the numbers, put them into the system, then it literally reflects the airtime back onto your phone. Guys, I was very shocked. I remember I was walking to Naivas, that Naivas just near the Kampala building in Nairobi, that is at River Road. I was walking through as I moved to Naivas to buy something to drink, and I was just thinking and thinking and thinking, and I was thinking, like, Nairobi is already up there, but they still do use scratch airtime. What the hell do we call ourselves as Uganda to literally leave that, when people who are already superior than us still do the simple things, And it was a very, 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 very huge shock on me. I ended up buying one, scratched it in, and it reflected the airtime. I was very, very happy. I hope you would have seen me, guys, or I would have recorded my face, guys. I was over the moon. I was like reliving my childhood, not childhood, but early teens kind of memories. Yes. This brings me to the second last point I would love to talk about. This is how cold Nairobi is, guys. Nairobi is cold. And let me kid you not. Our friends already told me that now, Tanya, you were saying that it is cold. How I wish you were here in June, July, August. Mind you, this is August 12th. Recording this video August 12th, because I just came in yesterday. It's just because I didn't have any body lagging, that I just say let me just go back into working and recording videos. But guys, Nairobi is cold. Guys, yesterday night Nairobi was cold. I remember going out a little bit through the estate I'm living in, and like, putting your hand in a fridge, that is how cold it was. And they told me it was colder than that. Degrees know how to go below, actually below. Yeah, guys, it was so cold, and I was just imagining people who do pro bono work, and you're going to be spending the whole day indoor. How would that experience be like? Because now, for me, regardless of the fact that I'm here for, nursing school and creating content and establishing relationships with people I love and people I've found on the internet, I'm going to be moving out at least to different regions. But I just imagine a person doing pro bono work or work online, which is official, and it leads you to be in one estate. One thing I'm not sure of, guys, is that is it only one estate or one region of Nairobi that is called, or all regions are this called, or are this bloody cold? Yeah, it was very cold, especially people who are traveling here. Please carry more than one jacket. I ended up bringing this, I brought this, but also I brought another jacket just in my bag because the coldness was really, really crazy. Yes. Now, you guys, this brings me to the last point I really want to talk about. This is all about Forex exchange. The shock of my life came, first of all, at the border, where I did find unofficial Forex bureaus in the night, guys carrying Kenyan currency and selling it at maybe 29. It is not bad. It's a good side hustle. But for me, as a person who was visiting for the first time, passing through that border, it was a shocker of my life, because deep in the night, and you are exchanging money from a person who doesn't have even an office, coming into a country for the first time, even the money, you can't see it very well. I was very scared to be given faint money, so that by the time I come into the city, realize it, and maybe, something happening to me legally because of having faint money. So it was really a very, very huge shocker on me. Then another shocker on me related to that, guys, is that the exchange rate in Kampala compared to Uganda, I think it is far much better you do it in Kampala, because in Kampala we would find places which was 28.5, exchanging from Ugandan currency to Kenyan currency. Initially, I exchanged like 3,000 Kenyan shillings, with a hope by the time I reached the border, it would maybe be around 27. It wasn't at all. So it was actually 29, and it was deep in the night. I wouldn't exchange the money because of, I told you it was night, wouldn't see the money, and I was scared to be given faint money. In Nairobi, going deeper into Nakuru, Nairobi, and to a street where they exchange money, the exchange rate is crazy. Ugandan shillings to Kenyan shillings, they give you for every Kenyan shilling in Ugandan shillings, they are giving you 38. 38 is crazy, guys. It is crazy. Even my bank, which I did use, like I used Stanbic Bank, they only charged me 29.5, which is also still very high. So, and in Uganda, I left it at 28. So I was just regretting and hoping that, not only regretting, I don't want to say regretting because regretting would be a very bad word to use in this instance, because I'm learning and I'm growing. It was very education. I think it's the best word to use, to know that it's much better to do it in Kampala, because when you come to Kenya, Kenyans don't need Ugandan shillings, they need Kenyan shillings. So for Ugandan shillings, they'll give you at any price they feel like they want. So it was really also a very, very huge shocker to me, because I thought that, because since Kenya, it's where Kenyan shillings come from, chances are high that, they'll give me less. They'll give me at a very, affordable price, or maybe less price, so that I can be able to integrate into their economy. With that said, guys, I really want to thank you for watching today's vlog. I really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. In case you have any recommendations on exchange rates, haven't exchanged another bunch of money, not so much, but a bunch of money, I haven't exchanged it, let me know in the comment section below. You can send me a message privately on my business WhatsApp number in the description box below. Recommend to me where I can exchange money at a good price. Recommend to me places to visit in Nairobi, Kenya. Recommend to me anything you'd love to recommend to me. Advise me here and there on how I can incorporate with Kenyans. Advise me on different things. With that said, guys, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching this vlog, and let me meet you in my next one. I'll do definitely a part 2. This was a part 1, but I'll do a part 2 of the culture shocks, because you guys, it is enormous when it comes to accommodation, when it comes to day-to-day life experiences, when it comes to food, when it comes a lot and a lot. But until we meet next time, kwaheri.